Let's watch this 3v3 or whatever. Let me.
Their game be high intensity, real physical. Just going into it, just the matchups.
Nigga try to go between his legs,
played Summer Jam, so that history going into that game, the intensity between them two is going to be high.
School, his experience, his will to play, and like Bruce is a dog. You know what I'm saying? Named Mad Dog for a reason.
To be honest, I don't really.
Bro, what's up with this hat School been wearing lately, man? Is this like a golf hat or like what type of hat is this? Like, what do you call that?
Care about what they got going on over there. I know Mize and Bruce are coming to play, so you can do what you want with that info.
Shit, gonna be so fire.
New Orleans versus EOB. Damn, bro. We live. Damn, my bad, Lamar.
Nigga almost stepped out. 3-0, Nola DMV.
Y'all want to win? You got to do it.
Okay. Get to the spot. Yeah, just keep doing it again. Shit. You ain't gonna guard it, then just go right back to it.
We never ran track.
Yeah, do it again. Get a little bit further now. Okay, dribble into it.
Damn, why you give me the slim dribble? You got
Oh,
custom.
damn. Yeah, just keep doing it.
Two on that side. He said I brought two for us. You know, I gotta look out for you. You know, you can eat.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Back to the game, 11-0.
11-0, like, just like
It's a
that.
long game, though. 50. DMV is gonna let that at the end of it. I feel like this is a statement, though.
14-0.
14-0. I feel like this is a statement with Lamar School matching up again. Not saying it's a statement 1v1, but it's definitely, you take it personal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he just gonna abuse that. Hello, how you doing? I'm doing good. How you doing? Welcome to the stream.
New Orleans came out to play this song. I like how
He
Giannis
is
been a
just
lot more
going
aggressive
at
this
his
game.
ass. You good? Or
No,
do you
he's-
ball? Yeah.
Probably got his feet a little wet. You see how these events
You
go.
ball?
First 2 days.
You be
He's a little
hooping?
more comfortable now. You see him?
Let me
how much more
in
aggressive he is.
Yeah.
Passing
your
aces,
box.
selling
Is
for
that
threes.
your name?
You see him now? He's getting used to it.
That's kind of
And
a
I mean, he
crazy
got
name.
NBA level
Man.
talent. He was there, so he know how to play. This is what we was looking
Here and
for
there.
since day one.
Type shit.
21-0.
Nah, they abusing that.
21-0.
That Bruce matchup. Bruce getting killed.
21.
I don't think Bruce got a stop yet.
Off the 13. Wake up. 21-0. Lamar lets it fly right here.
They're going at it for real.
Like shots.
Nah, for real. Okay. Got on the board. 21-2. Long game though. Yeah, they just need 40 at halftime. Now, that'd be crazy.
Hey, what time is it?
I know they don't want to give them the ball no more.
Wells Fargo.
Who's gonna work, bro?
Huh? You don't bank with Wells? Maybe.
Wells.
Hey,
Oh, he gonna shoot that.
hey.
He gonna shoot that.
The 2 tough buckets back there.
Listen,
That was
the
better.
team, they just need
Get back to him.
this going. It's a whole new game.
The little man doing crazy work.
Oof.
You said Scoob is little. I don't think Scoob that little. You said the little man. Okay, Bruce.
Like,
Hey,
all I
Bruce.
think LP is just missing a little in-between game.
I mean, I guess if you're comparing him to everybody on the court, he kind of.
But that's how it just feels we should really shoot too. Like it just feel good.
Grab that. Watch out, watch out.
Watch your back, watch your back.
Ooh,
Nice out. He feeling it.
cash. Down 24-7. I ain't talking how much you work during
Those
the week.
hurt. That's a big shot though. Get the lid off of him.
God,
24/7.
straight in the halftime.
Such a long game though.
Man, come on, you gotta be
New
ready.
Orleans hasn't had the best
Okay, cool. Shit.
conditioning.
Halftime already.
They
How
did.
long is this video? Oh, there's multiple games? How many games is there? Why are they doing multiple games? They played 2 games? Why? Since when is that a thing?
got enough down the stretch.
Yeah, you get to it, right?
2 games of 3v3?
Don't let a nigga make it. Yeah, you're not big enough down there. Yeah.
Or is it like,
make him call foul. Feel me? Yeah.
or is it like,
I'm ready to click for you. Yep. I'm saying when he going, you
they
start
playing
coming.
somebody else?
Yeah. And you get him for the. I was saying, yeah, keep out. Yeah, don't tell him. They won't chance you jumpers. That's why he's doing that. Keep out. Yeah. Get what you like.
Yeah, they're playing way better now.
Keep playing together.
Because the last time when they played Nitty and them, shit.
I'm gonna be here. Beat it. He's out in the middle. I'm gonna just back this for life.
Alright.
Damn it, you ain't real.
Like do this. So the moment you look at the ball, back door.
If you set it up right here and I'm right here, I'll go at the peak, and you hurry up, come back scoring. That's like that.
For what? You want jump this side?
Right here. Yeah.
You want jump this?
Yeah. All right. You get on the left side. All right. And if it's not that, he just come ball screen for you to jump off that bitch.
They too comfortable. No, they too comfortable though. I think that's why they're making shots. Like they're not rushing. You gotta make them rush.
I ain't gonna lie. It ain't just that though. Like they ain't just comfortable for no reason. They killing Bruce. Or what's the name killing Bruce? And they got like 11 straight on his head. And then, you know. But yeah. Okay.
We gotta press up. They taking the shot they want to take. Yeah. Reach at me.
I don't know. It seemed like maybe they tired or something.
So you can't just like do a body there. You got you know what I'm saying? To make him do some jump shit. Yeah, I go there. I got. This time, you know what I'm saying? I'm making him think. I'm about to work on here. Instead of just like, I'm here. Yup, being lazy. We good? He don't see that, you know what I'm saying? Come on, let's win.
And this is new. Like games, even 50, I've never seen.
That's a game.
It's a game. We played big 3 games.
Oh, they got the
this
switch.
is the big 3. They'll set up for a lot.
You think we need to through the fire? What's it, the fire?
Bring the fire.
Them niggas talking?
I'd be fire. No, I don't like the rules on bring the fire though.
What you mean?
Like
turnover?
with it under the 3-point line.
What?
You can change it though. It's ball is life. You heard me?
Huh?
You can change the rules.
Well, for us?
Yeah.
I was saying I don't like how big 3 rules is.
I would like
Can't
it.
change those rules.
Yeah, I would like it if we did a bring through the fire here. Shot clock though. Like a 6-second shot clock on the catch.
I feel like sometimes you need a challenge like that.
You do.
Without like actually looking at a replay.
I think they let the
What the fuck was that shot, bro?
You do.
You dribble right into his hand. Like, what the fuck?
Without like actually looking at a replay.
Yeah, I think they let the commentators do it.
What?
Except the challenge call. Oh. That's good D right there. Who said that?
That would have been a good hit.
Somebody in the green shorts.
Yeah. Good pass.
They working.
Fly by.
They working for sure. He gonna shoot. Yeah, black ball. I was gonna say it.
What you say?
I don't know why he don't do what he did before. Dang, I'm holding. I don't know why Burton ain't doing what he did before. He could just catch that bitch in the mid post and go to work. Now he a little bit like he in the long 2 range. Like,
I like that shot.
go down.
He
Now
good.
he at the
He good
3.
for money, catch and shoot.
What the fuck?
He got good catch and shoot.
What the hell?
Like if good for money, catch.
Why would you throw that? That is not open at all. Like, he not even facing
I like that shot.
towards the ball to catch it.
He good for money.
Like, you just had it in your mind that you was already gonna pass that.
Catch and shoot. He got good catch and shoot. Like if you in Lamar's shot, it's not a lot of motion. It's straight.
He gonna shoot. Oh, okay.
Zay and Lamar getting into
They going at it. It's heating up.
They're talking.
Come on, man. Y'all
Team
up,
started
but y'all
35.
gotta, you know what I'm saying?
30-15. Lamar wants that though.
Yeah. He gonna make them in betweens.
Shot scoop.
He gonna try to get that switch every time, and he went under. You know he's shooting. Y'all gotta figure out what y'all want to do for that pick and roll.
If I get over it, what we doing? We switching or what? We switching or what? Because I don't have the backside effect. So switch it. Yeah, listen, he making tough shots. It's not like he just going boom, boom, get layup.
My thing is, if you go over the top, right, what's gonna happen? He's shooting, so he gotta drive there. If I switch, that means it's a cut, and you can't get that cut because you behind him too.
Hey, look, the threes can't run from it. They go, it's been plenty of times.
They can search you out,
There's
bro.
been plenty of times where
You know when they going at you.
There's been a couple of times, right, where I knew I didn't want that much. Like it was like Nesco or Cam or Rob on the unlimited dribble type tip. Boy, like, you know you tired, you don't
I
feel like.
never thought I'd hear Nas admit to some shit like that. He in the commentator seat, his ass get to talking. He like, shit, yeah, you know what? There been a couple times I ain't want to guard Rob, unlimited dribbles, Cam, Nesco. He threw a couple names in there just to make it seem like it wasn't just, you know.
Having that right now.
Ain't no get through. Switch that. You gotta switch that.
No, you gotta switch it though. Still, you gotta just.
Gotta switch it.
And sometimes people be having your number like they have. That one day they'll have.
Come on, you gotta figure something out, bro. You gotta figure something out for the screen roll. You gotta figure something out.
Look, right back at him. It's gonna mess it up now if he not switching. Hey,
what the fuck?
He not gonna switch.
There wasn't even a screen there. Nigga just, man. This is the shit I'm talking about. I'm talking about he ain't even. Wait, what the fuck? What? Hold up. What the fuck is this nigga doing?
Hey.
What the hell? Yo, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Cause what happened?
If he not gonna switch that, it's gonna mess up the whole thing. I said game start.
It's not enough time.
I said when is the game start?
35.
That's what I'm saying, man.
2067.
Look, this what happened.
What the fuck happened? Did they count that?
If he not gonna switch that, it's gonna mess up the whole thing. I said game start. It's not enough
What the
time.
fuck was that?
I said when does the game start? That's what I'm saying, man.
2067.
Look, this what happened.
My mic wasn't even on.
And limited dribbles, no shot clock, so grab it.
Like the same way Deontay just brought it like that. That's how you gotta be.
Just like his was.
You gotta be.
Nothing. Just like his was nothing.
DMV needed the game to get scrappy.
Mm-hmm. Pull up. 3.
That's a 2. He love them long 2s. I don't know what it is. When he get the dribbling, he don't want to take no 3.
Lamar.
8-27.
You got a guard.
29-27.
You can't give me no daring shots.
Hey, just know they on a 24-3-1.
Come on.
Ah.
Offensive? Yo, nah, that's crazy. I ain't gonna lie. That's crazy. How is that offensive?
I don't mind that.
It's a battle, bro. I do. I want him.
Oh, he just said push. It sounded like he said offensive, though.
I don't mind that.
So what'd he
battle,
say
bro.
if he didn't say offensive?
I want him to let him fight. At least the first bump.
Nah,
You can't call it first bump.
He grabbing him.
You can't call it grab
Hey,
call
look.
it bump.
Look at Deontay.
He don't know what he want to do.
Deontay's done. Game starts at 35.
If you play somewhere.
What he say?
Game starts at 35.
If you play somewhere. That's how they rap. What? I'm just saying. Been doing it for a while.
God damn, bruh. Make it free throw.
Shot. I think he's tired, man. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. They found one. They found one. Coke butter.
Coke butter cheese.
I think Nas having too much fun.
Yo, they going right there. Yep.
Oh my no.
No, that's off.
Why not just get the same matchup again? Huh?
You just feeling.
Shoot.
Can you hit that?
That's all.
He finna bat it away.
Big board, Bruce. 29-29. 29-29. Good job. You saw that?
Right.
The way he X'd out so that he didn't have to go to big. Good D.
Yeah. That's all right.
No,
That's what I was trying to tell everybody. Game starts at 35.
I see it all.
Game starts at 35.
They got 2 refs or not?
We like when a ref talk back to players.
No.
I'm wearing different shit.
Sensitive, bro. Like, it don't matter what the player say to you, just like, okay, I'll get you next time.
Well, I don't agree. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Huh?
Hold up.
Well, I don't agree. Yeah, I'm with you
You gotta let him land.
on that.
Huh?
Or be like, if you don't agree, be like, no, that wasn't that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But all that
But
going
see,
back and
I
forth.
feel like going back and forth, now the ref is taking it personal.
Yeah.
And now you getting the short end of the stick when you playing for something.
Y'all niggas let these niggas come back, man. Y'all had the game. Y'all had the game and the game plan. Grab that rebound. Okay, come on. That's a 1.
Hey, take the ball back. Never took the ball back. Fine.
2. You shooting that. He gonna shoot. Okay, first shot that went in for him. They ain't really been in the paint lately. I mean, he ain't really had the ball for real. Come on, why you pick up your dribble?
I don't know. Listen, there's new positions. He not rim running.
He shooting. Cash.
Big shot, Lamar. I keep telling everybody, game started 35.
Game started. I don't know about 35. It started at 29.
Game starts at 35.
No, it's
every
started.
game. No, sir.
The game is started. You see how these guys are sweating?
It's at 35.
Oh, you gotta finish. You gotta finish those. That's a good read. Cash.
Right there. That's it.
He ran straight into that motherfucker. Love that. Look at that.
Right there. That's it. See what I mean? Now is when the players take, like,
Y'all missed the
now
high
when you
five.
have
No,
a
no, no.
guy, you
Go
take
get the
over.
high five back. Go get the high five back. That'll be the thing to fuck up the chemistry. Go get the high five right now. Go get that high five right now. Hell no.
Last 15, he take
That'll
over.
be the
Whether
thing that'll
he's
make him
scoring or
lose.
creating, he take over last 15.
Who is that guy? Lamar?
On white, it's Lamar. On black, it's School. See how you find the one he like? Last 15, good players take over right here. 13 for them. Styling. I said that right? Styling.
I forgot they don't shoot no free throw now when BallisLife.
Oh!
You saw Bruce about to celebrate?
Like, let me see if she do this again.
Let me see that one more time.
Bruce about to celebrate.
I don't know.
Oh! You saw Bruce about to celebrate?
Like, let me see if she do this again.
I don't know why he went away from catching it.
Oh!
Never mind. I'll shut the fuck up.
You should think I'm trying to do the game.
Make the game easy. That's all I'm saying. Trying to make
Niggas talking. Nigga think he Paul Pierce.
He got a lot of confidence.
I ain't gonna lie. I haven't seen many people with more confidence.
You said what?
I ain't gonna lie. I haven't seen many people more confident.
He said he ain't seen many people more confident. Oh God, though.
In themselves. I believe in myself a lot, though.
I'm about to say, he finna shoot. Oh my God.
That was nasty.
Nah, he's filthy.
When I say the game started, listen.
Hey, that nigga Pep sitting on the sideline, he got cooked the whole day. All he could do was smile and look at this shit, man.
That was nasty.
He like, damn, that nigga shooting like that? Like that? I got cooked twice. 3 times for real.
When I say the game started, listen.
Take over.
Nigga went from saying he the best 1v1 player in the world to sideline after going 0-2.
That's when the game started. When he started trying to go.
Oh, he hit 34.
No, I'm saying, but when he started.
Oh
what
my!
Did I say?
Nah, he is disgusting. Oh my gosh.
Start. When did the game start? That's what listen, guys. Nas is his first time over here. I've got to watch so many of these games that you get a good feel of when the good players turn it up a notch.
Ah, that would have been nice.
What'd I say, Nas? What'd I say?
I'm sorry.
You said I'm sorry.
I appreciate the apology.
Try that.
Game. What'd I say?
Let them at 35. Okay.
What'd I say? Good players turn up win, and when the game starts?
Okay, Lamar.
Listen,
Now Lamar was cooking.
And the good players, a big,
So you know what I'm saying? The missed handshake didn't fuck it up.
Much needed win. You guys really starting to figure each other out. And it was one thing that we was talking over here, and you guys had the big lead. But like everybody here is good, so y'all withstood the run. And I always like to say the game starts at 35. Like at 35, it's a brand new game. And y'all really like bit down, did y'all thing, locked up, closed it out. What was kind of going through y'all mind? Game hits 35 and closing out.
Close out. Exactly that. Close out, dig in.
That
Still
nigga
a lot of
sweating like
game
shit.
50. So really in the second half, you really got to dig in because you start to lose your legs. And that's really, you see who's like mentally prepared for the game. Like it's just a mental fight.
Okay.
In my opinion, he was the biggest mismatch. So kind of getting him going downhill was going to open it up for everybody else. You know what I'm saying? We just needed him to be aggressive, and it was going to open it up for us, and we just had to make shots.
And playing against the MV school, Zay and Bruce, they always play together, so they got their chemistry. So they never out the game. And they play hard as shit. They're really conditioned. So like, you got to stay a lot of attention to detail with them. So I knew, when we had the big lead, I knew it would know it. So just how they're going to keep fighting, they're going to keep playing. But I'm just proud. My team, we kept going. We was able to get through it.
So they gotta play Pep and okay, so this is game 2. Okay, cool. So do they get to rematch? Or is it like just whatever? I don't know. How the fuck they doing it? They ain't showing no bracket or nothing, so maybe it don't matter. Ooh, love his beaters though. His black beaters. And so they gotta play back to back. Which is cool because I guess they don't have to get warm, but you know, these niggas is conditioned though. I feel like St. Louis about to get spanked. I'm not gonna cap to you. I feel like St. Louis about to get whooped. It's a longer game though. It's a longer game than the first one. I ain't look at the score now. Hold on, let me get right. It's a longer game though, so shit. Maybe they didn't. Well, they couldn't have got whooped if it was this long of a game. Unless niggas was just not scoring. Everybody playing up on defense.
Hey, we back at it. Day 3. We got DMV. We got St. Louis. Man, this game is.
What type of face Pep be making? He be looking like he grimacing like the whole fucking game. Look at his face.
Hey, we
like he
back at it. Day 3. We got DMV. We got St.
Like he be making that. that grimace the whole fucking game. Like, what's up with that? Like,
Lewis, man, this game is going to be worth a lot. First bucket's already been done by Bruce. He goes for the second one. Y'all let me know right now in the comments who you think is going to take
they gonna let him shoot
this win.
Look, he ain't even want to pump fake. Look at the basket.
The second one. Y'all let me know right now in the comments who you think
Hove gonna have to be hitting shots for sure.
is going to
Bruce going back. They just gonna let Pep shoot for real.
take this win.
He ain't even look at the rim.
Because both of them, honestly,
I don't know who this nigga is at all. So I don't know what the fuck to say about him.
like, they really need it. Because at this point in the tournament, everybody
They're
fighting
gonna let him shoot. They're not pressing up on it.
Nah, it's
Now
actually
he working hard. Now it's crowded. Now we back in the corner again. This is the third time we in the corner in this possession.
DMV only lost once. So
What the
they still
fuck?
have a chance to maybe tie
Okay.
number one.
I'm
LA,
not gonna lie.
Unless
the way
they lose.
LA just been rolling.
I know.
Because you got to think, when you got the steamroller, you got Bino, and you got
yeah, that's
Nitty
the team.
driving the steamroller.
I feel
You
like
got
Pep not really
Dom
gonna do shit this
signaling
game.
where the steamroller supposed to go.
How is he getting around this easy?
And you got Dom signaling.
Pump fake. See, they worried that the only person shot they worried about for real, and they should be honestly, is Hove.
Where the steamroller supposed to go.
That just seemed too
Hey, just
easy
take
though.
Hove.
Goddamn.
Hey, 4-2,
Like,
4-2.
I feel like that whole shit was in
4-2,
slow
4-2.
motion.
Win prediction right now in the comments. Let me know. Y'all got DMV or y'all got St. Louis? Who you got?
Yeah, Hove gonna have to be the one
I
hitting.
think they want to get that chance at being number
Man,
one.
I guess. Oh shit. Oh, he smoked it. He kind of big though, so he might.
Bow!
He might have a mismatch on Bruce if Bruce can't play that.
Pep got his hands full all weekend.
Yeah. but he didn't. He walked into a gauntlet though. To be fair.
To be fair, but he's had his hands full all weekend.
Oh yeah.
He's
Back
a great
down, back
defender.
down. You say he's a fake shooter?
He's a great defender though.
Defender? Maybe. Shot wise though, they're leaving that open.
You know what's crazy with his game?
Nigga said we alright as soon as he touched the ball. Y'all heard that?
He's a great defender though.
Yeah. They're not worried about that shit at all.
You know what's crazy with his game, honestly? All he should be working on is that catch and shoot. Good shot.
Hey, Bruce.
He just get a good catch and shoot. He a whole different player.
That boy Bruce Shaw he had a bad day yesterday shooting the ball. Did
Very
everything
aggressive.
else. So it's good to see him roll it early.
You think Zay should check Munson? Huh?
I don't know. Bruce is a little more physical and taller, where he might.
But Munson not shooting.
I'm saying for the post ups.
Yeah, Hove gonna have to be the nigga. That nigga just sitting in the corner.
I think Zay can hold him out there, though.
You're not finna get no back door because they playing off your shot. So you might as well just sit in that corner, or you might as well come over the top and do something. Set a screen, something.
I don't think Bruce or him is less capable.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's either option.
I think it's a different.
Wait, what did he ask?
Where he might.
But Munson not shooting.
I'm saying for the post ups.
I think Zay can hold him out there, though.
I don't think Bruce or him is less capable.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's either option.
I think it's a different look, though.
Yeah. I just like Bruce there initially.
Big
because
shot.
Okay.
Then Zay is a little faster to rotate out if they help.
Oh, to X.
Right.
When they Xing out. I see that. I get that.
But I say they do got different strengths, so like, you know, they play off of that then.
I'm not
Oh, that's easy. They're gonna have a hard time
All right,
with that
right here. What
mismatch.
you got? Back at it. To the
Gotta go
cup.
back
To the
Bruce.
rim.
Bump fade.
I think he goes
Bump
heavy
shot.
pull. He goes heavy pull. Heavy pull. That's his
yeah.
go-to. I think he goes catch and shoot three. Catch and shoot three. Catch and shoot three. Catch and shoot three.
Bump. Bump. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, he gonna have a hard time guarding Bruce. What the fuck? I don't like his coordination. Whoever the big guy is, I don't like his coordination. He need to just stay right there in that, like, cylinder. Like, right by the cylinder. Yeah, right there.
Good D.
Jesus Christ, why? And why did you dribble back out to the three?
Big hands.
That nigga losing the ball.
They're not gonna settle.
Okay, he got in there. He's at 3 seconds.
He must be pretty bouncy.
Yeah, no, he actually got a little lift.
He gotta have bounce because he be hanging.
He
He got a little hang time. He don't got hang time. Bro,
I ain't saying that.
You a freak.
I ain't saying that. Don't try to make me say what you said.
These niggas just passing to each other.
He don't got hang time?
I don't know. I can't
Damn.
tell you.
Look, he working though. His little tween cross.
No,
I don't like his face-up game. I think he just need a back to the basket. I'm not gonna cap to you. I don't think he need to be doing anything face-up other than getting right into the bump, and then maybe like a close shot.
Let it, like he got burst, a quick burst.
Like he never running though.
Like he losing the ball and shit.
He don't run.
His pace, quick to fast, quick to fast, slow, quick to fast. You know what I'm saying? They throw people off.
Good shot.
That's nasty.
14-8. DMV up. You go back to hold right here.
I think everything
Shot.
goes too much.
I think everything should go through holes though.
Yeah, everything need to go through a hole. He the biggest offensive threat they got. Pep is really just there. Pep is literally there just to pass. Pep is not an offensive threat. He is offensively challenged. Ain't that what the fuck he said about school? Pep is offensively challenged. Because he can't hit no three, so they're not respecting it. So they just playing completely off of him. Like, he's not even part of the game. It's 3-on-2.
Munson's a willing passer, so it can still get to him. Whole
Munson,
I think
losing the ball and, you know what I'm
I
saying?
think with Munson though, I feel like game is to what, 50? Game's to 50, right? You gotta get it.
He really need to start closer to the basket.
The Munson at like 35. Hoes gotta eat right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You can't let him.
Like, he ain't even looking to shoot. That's an open shot. No hand, got the space, everything. He ain't even look at the basket.
Munson gas before 35. Damn.
It's a good shot, though. I mean, he got there. It's not going to be consistently there, though. Easy. And then he just gave up baseline.
Finish.
Why would you close out and give him baseline, though?
Damn.
Like, I get it. You trying to play the shot. But, like, damn, he shifted him off balance. And then, like, when you got back on balance, you should have stayed by baseline. Like, don't shift back off baseline because you so worried about that shot. Like, you just out the play.
Good finish.
Like, you're not even a part of the play no more.
Pep gonna play hard, though. Can't give up the whole baseline.
That's what I'm saying.
Got foul on that?
It's a quiet ass game. Ain't nobody
I
touching.
ain't see it.
Niggas
You know,
tired.
it's hard to see those.
Yeah, especially over here. Right? Those are hard to like.
What's the game plan? What's the game plan? Good foul.
Damn, you snapped that elbow off in there.
I ain't gonna lie, the pace of the game is at an ultra. Like, I think that shooting competition, like Shoot 360, shout out to Shoot 360. Really put everybody
What the fuck is you trying to say, Nas?
at their
Spit it out,
highest,
nigga.
like, shooting percent efficiency, like they warmed up real well. So now, like,
Coming
that's why
over.
people are scoring early.
Dang, that may be
Making
something we gotta
shots.
implement though.
Yeah. You get the best of the best. Like, you get them at their best.
You get them at their best. You get them loose, warmed up, ready to go.
Damn. Oh yeah.
This
Go
your last
up.
time up there with me.
Oh
You can't
my
come back.
God. Oh my God.
This your,
He did not have to throw it that high though.
you get them at to go.
Good steal. He ain't have to throw it that high. I think he just rushed that.
This your last time up here with me.
Then he missed
You
a
can't come back.
I think I want to. I think I might have to call it.
that Scoob hits.
Coke butter cheese.
I might have to call it, being a commentator. Hurry out
Coke
here.
butter
It be swings like that lose you the game, bro, or lose you the momentum for the game.
3 out.
Still a long game though. They going to 50, so they ain't really been hitting. He ain't really had the ball for real.
Man, back to the game, man. Look at Munson. He walked everywhere. Watch this. See, all right, now we got Zay on it. Damn, that was easy.
Shit, I mean, fuck it then.
That nigga's a freight train. Freight train. Every time he get the ball, they gotta say freight train. Freight train.
Dude,
I'm
Cash.
telling you, you gotta go through ISO. He got it, yo.
Definitely gotta go through ISO. He's a shooter on the team. That's a good lay. He just getting Pep all the way up out of defensive position. Pep keep hopping on defense.
Gotta go through ISO. He got hit, yo.
He keep hopping and reacting. Like just late to everything. Jumping early.
With the quick jump after. All right, halftime, 25-13. I ain't gonna lie, St. Louis been kind of struggling this week.
Yeah, I think
Ones and threes.
they're one of the smaller teams in it. And I think Pep isn't really like a shooter. So with Munson on the floor, it's hard for him to really get going how he wants to, because it's like the best option is to catch and shoot. Because when he's driving, they can help off Munson as well, because Munson's not a shooter.
Right.
So you surround Munson with shooters. That's why Hov is having so much success. Like, not saying he can't get his own isolation buckets, but he gets some easy ones, some catch and shoot, because of people just helping off him.
You know what I think will be good right here is, so if Munson's in the post, right, and Pep's not shooting it good, off these helps, he got to flank it, he got to dive. Like, you got to have pressure on the rim so that one is there and then one's not there. Does that make sense? Instead of just having two guys.
It's easier said than done, but with the way Pep playing, he's not doing it well. Like, to get involved, Pep gotta set screens. He gotta go, you know what I'm saying? He gotta go like around and, you know what I'm saying, and cut in certain ways after a screen. Like, he gotta do shit like that. Like, he gotta move around crazy. And that honestly will help him get into his shot more. Just cause it's just the way basketball works. But the way he playing right now, he ain't never finna get going. He gotta switch it up.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Wherever help comes, he has to dive with him and try to get something on the rim easy.
What I'm saying, if he dives, he's taking away.
Now, think about it like this.
He clogging the paint.
Think about this: 3 people, right? Help comes, somebody has to dive to the rim.
Yeah.
Like even on the spin, you opened up, bro, it's not edge.
I forgot Nesco was there. I feel like Pep done rolled over since his first loss to school. He ain't been like, he lost to Scoob, then he lost to Dom. Now they losing now. I feel like he done rolled over for this whole tournament.
We're doing good. Hey, let's finish. When y'all get on Munson on defense, rotate off Pep. So like, if you got Pep, go. Yeah, if I'm on Pep, I'm gonna go. That's why I said, let me be that.
That's what I was telling you in the corner.
Go. Just go.
He can't do nothing.
Don't let Hope get it open.
See, they don't even respect it. They literally say you can't do nothing. He's offensively challenged.
Back to it. 25-13, DMV.
Way to cover that space.
Hezzy pull.
Ooh. Damn, his fingers is done, bro. How old is Ho?
34.
Good D. Good shot.
So you let him get that deep in
Big
the
shot.
bank.
Mad dog. Man. I think you gotta do that. Like a big ass announcer. Put me on the speaker.
Hey.
Mad dog.
Good
I
D.
turn somebody.
Quick spin. He gonna spin off. I ain't seen him do a spin off. There you go.
Hey.
Oh, fight.
Got me excited for nothing. I'm thinking this nigga finna dunk. Damn. Like he had momentum and everything too.
Spin. He gonna spin off. I ain't seen him do a spin off. There you go. Oh, fight.
Get in the play, bro.
What you got on it?
Tray ball.
Coke, butter, cheese.
Coke, butter,
If it's a stare down, if it's a triple threat three, Bruce
Bruce
gonna
probably
hit.
got like 20 out of 31.
If he dribble though, he taking that long too. Damn, that's a big bump.
You get freight train on that? You don't call it?
Freight train. You can't call it a freight train on a freight train.
You see the way he just hit the freight train?
You gotta be something else. Steamroller. I don't know. What was another one?
They daring that nigga to shoot. He ain't even look at the goal. God, like he ain't even. Like at that point, if you that, you know what I'm saying, at least dribble and get a long two or something. Like make him guard something. You not even part of the game, bro.
Who's game then? 50, right? See why I say you gotta put pressure on the rim? All those kicks.
But that's because so he attacked the closeout. It was a little different.
But still.
Because he was late,
No,
he had to
but
close out hard, and then he
even
would take
like
off.
on that, like I think that Pep could have cut on that. Does that make sense? Everybody's looking at Munson.
I think so, yeah.
Like Pep gotta.
You gotta help him.
Let me tell him.
You
gotta hit.
He make those the game.
Nice, he not hitting shit, bro.
Pep gotta.
You gotta help him.
Look.
Let me tell him.
You gotta hit that. He make those the game is different.
Yeah. Like Pep gotta get out. Nice hang.
Munson really saving their ass. So Pep is
You ever
not
seen Kid
involved
Gilchrist
at
shoot?
all.
I seen it like on 2K and
Ho's gonna have to hit
See,
like
he kind of got to like that's
Trey
how
ball, Trey ball.
Because he could get to that Baja.
he guarded at high level.
Yeah.
Now y'all letting Bruce hit threes off the
Kid
dribble.
Gilchrist was #1 player in the country with that shot.
How much time left in this game?
In high school though, he was just more athletic.
Yeah.
If you lead, you lead.
You lead.
Damn. Grab. That was a lazy pass.
Damn.
What's up
That's
with
a
these
dot.
cross-court passes?
I ain't gonna lie, I love to play with Munson.
Yeah. You would be perfect to play with Munson.
Yo, perfect. Like I'm like perfect to play with Munson.
All right, bro.
Just shoot.
Just
Shoot
commentate.
every time too. Just go.
Quick.
Yeah.
Sometimes you shoot too quick. I'm like, damn. Nigga, think about the shot first.
You can't think about it. Listen, as soon as you think about it, there's no more shot. You gotta just go. You gotta be so, as a shooter, you gotta be so free that
41 to 15. What do St. Louis do?
right now.
Yeah.
Nigga cook, bro.
Pray.
Prayer left. I think he's going for the
Frying
last
his
six.
ass.
Like I'm telling you, remember we talked about yesterday how certain players, when they get to a certain point, they know it's takeover time.
Yeah.
Takeover. He's all he thinking is takeover. All he thinking is takeover.
He's
Listen, he's
cooking
going
his
for every
ass.
last one.
Frying
Pep
his
got bite down
ass.
right here. I think if you Pep,
I don't think
you
Pep
can't
got
lose.
one
You got
point.
Somebody else got to score.
You got to bite down.
I gotta see the stats.
Even if you
of it.
foul every time. You gotta go right back at him. Nah, you gotta go back
He's
at
not
him.
going back at him. You know he can't do nothing.
Listen.
They doubling. They leaving that nigga Pep
what I
so
mean?
open.
You saw that?
You see how crazy that is? Bro, look at this. This nigga passed the ball. Look, he has the ball right now, right?
Nah, you gotta go back at him, Pep.
He's not even close. He passed the ball. They immediately double this nigga, bro. You didn't even think to, like, you ain't even cut. You so out of it, you ain't even think to cut. They don't respect you at all.
Listen.
I'm talking about just standing there whole time. Oh my God, Jesus.
See what I mean? You
Just
saw that?
standing there.
Huh? He should have. I thought he could have finished it, but you see what I mean? How you put the pressure on the rim instead of just sitting on the three?
Yeah.
Like you make them have to guard.
But Hole should sit on it.
What you say?
Huh? He should have. I thought he could have finished it, but you see what I mean? How you put the pressure on the rim instead of just sitting on the three?
Yeah.
Like you
You
make
say
them
leave his
have to
ass?
guard.
But Hole should sit on the three. Let's shoot that.
Man.
Yeah, I mean,
We're down.
He hasn't made
17 to 42.
He ain't made that many.
Well, don't matter. Everybody got 2-3. The Munson them, they might need to put one up. Yeah, never mind. I'm bullshit.
What you say?
Well, don't matter. Everybody got 2-3. The Munson them, they might need to put one up. Yeah, never mind. I'm bullshit.
Yeah, you just yapping now, nah.
Whenever I start bullshit, I gotta take a sip.
Nah, man. You know, last time you took a sip, they just had you at your body.
No, you was out your body.
God damn.
Here we go, Pep.
They so far back off this nigga down, bro.
I want Pep to just go get one, bro.
I won't.
Pep don't got a single point. Do he got a point? Did he have a layup? Or did he miss that one?
Better run off. Just like, because I know he's better than what he's showing right now.
The weekend's
I don't
adding
got
up,
no
right?
confidence.
This weekend, these
It's gonna
Labor
look like
Day,
3 months, though.
Labor Day.
It's gonna look like 3 months of him being ass.
Yeah, Hov just can't do it by himself, bro. Munson helped a little bit, but
Yeah, he going for it.
he said, "Ain't no rebound, nigga." Yeah, he don't respect him at all.
He going for it. I told y'all he was gonna go for the gusto. He going for game right here.
The shot 3.
Why is the game so much longer? Is there a game 3? There's no way the game is this much longer, and they only need to score 1 point.
Got everybody making shots
Yo,
today.
what the fuck?
He
This
gonna
like
step through for the win. Step
a
through for
third of the
win. Step through for
game.
Step through, step through, step through, step through,
He guarding that.
step through.
He guarding that.
I ain't know step through was coming.
He said, "Nah, do your thing."
Oh, I ain't want it. Bump float. Bump float, bump float.
Don't tell me these niggas fuck around and come back. Oh.
You know
Man,
who
he
played good
got it.
defense all week? Bruce. Yes, bro. Yo, he's the ball sitting. I can't do it back here, bro. Hurry up and win this game.
Man, we can't even hit free throws. Fuck, man.
I did.
What'd you tell him?
He told me he was retiring from basketball.
No, he didn't.
Breaking news.
No way he said that for real. He said he retiring from basketball after this? No way. He said he swear to God, though.
You talked to Pep this weekend?
Ain't no way Scoob took the life out of that nigga, bro. Scoob and Dom, bro. Ain't no way he went from saying, "I'm the best 1v1 player in the world," to saying, "I'm retiring in basketball after this." I don't believe that.
I did.
What'd you tell him?
He told me he was retiring from basketball.
No, he didn't.
Breaking news.
Dang, when's he announcing? in the tournament?
I'm just gonna train you.
He said,
This might not be me.
say you don't get no farewell tour. You ain't Kobe. Draymond really did that to Paul Pierce, bro.
Retiring after your first
Paul Pierce
appearance
is
is
great,
so
too.
crazy.
Yo, he was.
Who's career better, Paul Pierce's or Draymond's?
Individually, Paul Pierce.
Right. And then you say that to him. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
They said it while they was on top, too.
Yeah.
And he was a wizard. And he was a wizard.
Can't fuck with a nigga when he on top. He can say whatever he would want.
That was, yo, he been clamping all weekend.
Shoot it. Okay. Damn.
They got closed out still.
Y'all niggas was playing with y'all food this much.
You know, this is how it always go, bro.
You let off the gas and get point.
You always get a
Everybody
chance.
just actually want to step back in right now.
Give it to Quinn Cook. Bro, I'm telling you, bro.
Damn.
He should have made 3 of the way.
But he should have. He should have been more aggressive the whole game. I told him yesterday.
He was shooting it though. He got
No,
right.
he got to shoot it every time.
On God, he got you.
Like, you know how you be doing it?
What I be doing?
Yo, Nas always say I'll shoot a lot. I never met somebody I know that would shoot just as much or more than me. You'll put it up. Listen, you'll put it up.
If I hit?
I ain't mad at it. No, if you hit or don't hit, there's nothing wrong. Ain't nothing wrong with it.
You gotta hit.
You know what's the thing? You know the thing about shooting, right? Is you know how if you don't hit or if you hit, how you still gonna take the next one? Can you finish it?
Trap?
Can you finish it?
Trap?
He did travel.
Like mentally.
No, for sure. It's like I don't care. I worked on this shot so many times that I don't give a how many times I miss it. I
Cause
know.
you see some guys shoot, like they work on the game all the time, miss 3 shots and won't take no more shots. Yo, quick story. I remember I started a game, bro, college. Versus Radford, bro. 0 for 11.
When we played you started like 0 for like 8.
Yo, I ain't gonna cap. That was kind of crazy. That was kind of crazy.
When we played,
like the pass back pass.
College. Versus Radford, bro. 0 for 11.
When we played you started like 0 for like 8.
Yo, I took.
Oh, you passed it 2 more times.
Keep in
bro.
mind, our team caught food poisoning that game. We only had 6 players.
The whole
Bro, I
team?
shot 40 times.
Oh my! I don't think I ever shot 40 times.
Yo, I shot 40 times, bro. The team got food poisoning. We had 6 players. We had 3 walk-ons. Brother, I shot the ball.
Everybody got food poisoning, but you poison them niggas.
I ain't go to the team. I ain't go to the lunch.
Wow.
I ain't like what they had. I went like because
you bougie. You heard the bougie nigga.
What you mean? I ain't like what they had. I went across the street because I don't like eating nothing heavy. It was like a big pasta or something. So
Hov gotta put the team on his
bro.
back, bro.
I shot the ball every single time. And you gotta think starting over.
It's literally just gotta be Hov and Munson.
You've been waiting for your moment. It was your moment.
It was at Howard.
Yeah, I'm about to say Tennessee ain't let you shoot 40, so I'll go for who you is.
Might have won more. Might won a natty. Bro, we just picked to win the natty, bro. You know what that's like?
I don't.
You gotta just fuck around, dunk them. You good? And 1. I think you've been sitting at 49 for so long.
Hey, Munson. I'm about to say, you done missed like 10 layups today.
Hey, 49,
I feel
29.
Munson
They making
should
a
just
run.
dunk them hoes. At this point, if you gonna miss.
Bro, I'm telling you right here, Ho. Ho, shoot a 3. St. Louis ain't laying down though. They still playing.
This is you. I like that.
Shoot it again.
Yeah. Damn.
Bruce got to end it right here.
Damn, I'm finna say.
Come here, holler at me, Bruce. Brucey.
I know you niggas ain't let them come back.
Let's go, Bruce.
Bro, Pat didn't score nothing. Hold up. Let's look at the spread. Zay had 5 points. He didn't really do too much. Bruce had 20. Scoob had 26.
Hey, man. You want one of them? I'll get it.
Pep had 0 points. 0 for 5. And 0 for 4 from 3.
Coming from a bad day yesterday, I know you was like big on yourself about, you know, how you played, didn't really like how you played, didn't like how you looked. What was your mentality going into the day, and what made you give you the success to turn it around today?
Just be aggressive. Started the game, I just was aggressive. My first shot went in, and gave me confidence from there. But just be aggressive, man. No matter if I make a missed shots, just keep shooting.
Yeah, hey, solid win. Guys still in the running. Just got to close out strong. Close out strong. Do y'all get to see LA again?
I think they got to lose today. So it's going to be a tiebreaker.
Ooh, I know that'll be a good one. I know y'all looking forward to that.
Rematch, yeah, for sure. If we can get a rematch, that'd be great. But I think they got to lose today. I don't think they lost any games. I could be mistaken.
Yeah. I think another thing to be said is, like, just the effort and the defense you play, even when you wasn't making shots. You know, we made that a key point to say. You know what I'm saying?
Because you're guarding smaller guys, and people don't know, when you taller, guarding somebody smaller and quicker than you, like, you got to be so dialed in. So now you've been doing a good job.
I appreciate it, fellas.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to Bruce. His birthday at 12,
happy
too.
birthday, Bruce.
Y'all, man. Appreciate y'all.
Let's go, man. His 42nd birthday, man. Shout out to him. He been playing basketball for over 35 years.
So
It's longer than some of y'all been alive, man.
All right. That's cool or whatever.